Before it was Zimbabwe, it was Rhodesia, a settler state where less than 5,000 white farmers owned over 70% of prime agricultural land. Black families were pushed into poor, overcrowded communal areas. Land wasn't just wealth, it was identity, it was power. When independence came in 1980, that land imbalance remained because the Lancaster House Agreement protected white farms from being seized for 10 years. Any redistribution had to be peaceful and funded by Britain.
Mr. Chairman, having said that, may I say, people must always come first in any process of sustainable development. And let our Africans come first in the development of Africa, not as puppets, not as beggars, but as a sovereign people. I thank you.
Tony Blair and the Broken Promise. In the 1980s and 90s, Britain funded Zimbabwe's land reform. £44 million was spent buying land for resettlement. But in 1997, a new UK government took power, Tony Blair's government, and his development secretary, Claire Short, sent a letter that changed everything. We do not accept that Britain has a special responsibility to meet the costs of land purchase in Zimbabwe.
It's about somehow, we have held up land reform. The money is there for land reform. He could get that money and use it for land reform, because land reform is necessary, at any point in time he wanted. The only demand that has been made is the demand that it's done through the United Nations program in order to make sure that the money goes to the people, the poor people that actually need it, not into the pockets of him and his henchmen and the other people running the show.
To Mugabe, this was betrayal, a broken promise from the former colonial master.
We have not asked for any inch of Europe or any square inch of that territory. So, Blair, keep your England and let me keep my Zimbabwe.
Shortly after that, Mugabe started paying war veterans, unbudgeted, uncontrolled. And then came the land seizures, chaos in the fields. In 2000, Mugabe launched the fast-track land reform program.
That led to a fallout with the international community, one big reason for long-standing sanctions. But there's also...
Thousands of white-owned farms were taken, sometimes violently. By 2002, over 4,000 white farmers had been forced off their land. 300,000 black farm workers lost their jobs. This wasn't just redistribution, it was a shockwave. The goal was racial justice. The result was economic destruction. Zimbabwe implodes. Agricultural exports collapsed. GDP fell. Inflation spiraled. By 2008, Zimbabwe had the worst hyperinflation in recorded history.
What can you buy with it?
Nothing.
Not matches, maybe.
Matches.
Box of matches.
Yes.
Coke.
No.
How much is a Coke?
300 billion.
300 billion.
100 trillion Zimbabwean dollars for a loaf of bread. Food disappeared from shelves. Fuel vanished. Millions fled the country. And the Zimbabwean dollar? Dead. Isolation and sanctions. The West reacted with sanctions targeted at Mugabe and his inner circle. Mugabe blamed them for the collapse. But the truth was harder to admit. Zimbabwe had destroyed its own economic engine. China filled the vacuum, loans, arms deals, but never enough to rebuild what was lost. Enter Mnangagwa. In 2017, Robert Mugabe was forced out. His former right-hand man, Emerson Mnangagwa, took over. He promised reform. He promised re-engagement. He promised Zimbabwe was open for business.
He's going through a new dispensation, and there's a lot of hope and expectation in the area of economic growth and expansion. And we have come here to the People's Republic of China as our first call outside Africa to talk to our closest friend, which is the People's Republic of China, and laying bare our economic challenges we are facing at home. I'm glad to say in all areas that I have raised with my delegation, we have received positive
and in
replies
2020,
to those
he
challenges.
signed a deal no one expected, the $3.5 billion deal. It was called the Global Compensation Deed. Zimbabwe agreed to pay $3.5 billion to white farmers, not for the land itself, but for the infrastructure they left behind: barns, dams, irrigation. It was historic, it was bold, and Zimbabwe didn't have the money. The payments begin.
Shifting focus to Zimbabwe, the country is paying millions in compensation to white farmers whose land was forcibly seized 2 decades ago. Zimbabwe's government has announced an initial payout of $3 million to local white farmers who lost their land in the early 2000s.
In March 2025, Finance Minister made the announcement. $3.1 million had been paid to 378 of 740 farmers. Just 1% of what's owed. The rest will be paid through US dollar-denominated treasury bonds, spread over 10 years at 2% interest. And earlier that year, in February, Zimbabwe also paid $20 million to foreign farmers from Germany, Denmark, the Netherlands, and Switzerland, protected by international treaties. Who really pays? Zimbabwe's external debt is over $14 billion. The economy is fragile. So who pays? Is it the IMF? Is it through mining revenues? Is it future generations of taxpayers? Most Zimbabweans still don't own land, yet the state is compensating those who were removed decades later. The politics behind it. Mnangagwa is betting on legitimacy. He needs the IMF. He needs Western recognition. This payout isn't just about justice, it's about global reintegration. It's diplomacy. And to sweeten the pot, Mnangagwa agreed to zero tariffs on US imports, echoing Trump's trade stance. This is geopolitics in disguise, bitter justice. But here's the irony. Most land didn't go to poor farmers. It went to elites, generals, politicians, ZANU-PF insiders. Much of it lies idle, underutilized, decaying. Now, taxpayers are footing the bill for a disaster created by the state, while farmers hold on to their title deeds. Still waiting, still bitter. The African lesson. South Africa flirted with land expropriation. Kenya's coast is tense with unresolved land claims. Namibia still debates reparations. The lesson? Land reform isn't wrong. But if it's done without planning, compensation, or clarity, it becomes a weapon, not a solution. Zimbabwe is paying $3.5 billion, not just in money, but in lost time, lost talent, and lost trust. The land was taken, the economy fell, and now the bill is due. This is Zimbopreneur, where curiosity, creativity, and innovation meet.